Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to Talk Hard. I am Pops, and we are here to talk about Nightmare Before Christmas and definitely hang out and have a good time. Hopefully, you guys are being blessed and having a good week with me, as always. These great co hosts. How are you doing, Stone Cold Loki? What's going on, brother?
Doing good, doing good. I love this movie, so let's get it on.
Let's do it, right? Let's burn something down and talk about something good, folks. Turn off the crap and let's pop in a disc that really can just shouldn't blow your mind of how good it was. So, Ironcaster, my friend, what is going on? How are things for you?
I am doing fantastic. Like this, I haven't watched this in so long. It's been long overdue for me.
Music to our ears, my friend. That is kind of like among the best things we can hear. We doing a show like this is that we can dust off something we haven't seen or haven't seen in a long time. And with us is our special guest, the Mad Doctor himself. Adega Outlaw is in the house. How you doing, my brother?
Jerry Lewis special.
Well, we're great to have you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for the invite. This is going to be fun. I'm glad you invited me because it gave me an excuse to do something that I hadn't done before.
I can't wait to pick your brain on that at all. Before I get too far from it, because I do tend to forget or boomer my way along things. So let me welcome and say thank you to Lester San Jose. The Skeptic Tank reached out. He's become a member. Super cool guy. I'm great to see him doing some very emotional content. I love folks that are just like putting themselves out there. They talk about what they like. They talk about crap going on in their lives. It's great to see. Thank you so much for partnering with us and being a member on this channel, Lester. Thank you so much, brother. We appreciate that. And then, of course, the mod himself, the GOAT, Chris Persia, holding things down for us here. Hail to the triumvirate of Talking Hard, and hail to Adega. Yes, hail to you, my brother, in the Great White North. And Abomination AJ is here. Say, what up? All right, my friend. Thanks. Great to have you here, man. Great to see you. And still have to thank Loki for doing a watch party for this. Otherwise, I may never appreciated this fantastic movie. Very cool. Yes, Loki has a lot of love for this movie, which I totally can relate to. When did you see it first, Loki? What was like your first fell in love with? Did you see it in the theater or a little bit later on?
First run, fell in love with it, loved it. I've got all kinds of Jack Skellington stuff, and it's Eris has got rings and necklaces and I mean all kinds of stuff. You'd think this was like her favorite movie of all time. No, it's one of mine. So the jewelry, it's all my fault.
Fair enough. How about you, Ironcaster? Where does this fall for you? You said you hadn't watched it in a little while, but what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, this was one I was shown when it was like kind of first airing on TV back in probably 94, 95, somewhere right in there. So when it was like kind of when it was out of the theaters, it was starting to make those yearly returns, and it was one I could always remember. Like my grandma would like either tape for me, or I would always just kind of make sure to catch on the night it was on. So this one became one of those movies where I was trying to make sure I had to watch it on TV when it aired. Because I didn't have the VHS tape, so I could only watch this about one time a year.
Gotcha. No, Adega, I did not know this. I thought Adega would come in with a pro skill set and some history and stuff, but no, Adega dropped a bomb as we just got started. Adega, my friend, this was your first time watching this film.
This was the first time, yeah. When it came out, I was a student, dirt poor. My wife and we had a small black and white TV, and there was no money for movies. We would scrounge the couch to split an ice cream every once in a while, but looking for coins. But no, it was the first time, and it was Tim Burton. I figured, well, it's something I should have seen, but just never got around to it. So thank you for introducing me to it, because there's a lot to this that I didn't realize, and always been a fan of Danny Elfman, so this was a double bonus.
Yeah, so for me, coming out of the Batman era with Burton and Elfman's work, I was there, opening night, saw this multiple times in the theater, totally was hooked, loved it from the get-go. I took a lot of heat, guys. I mean, I don't know if now look, you'll be able to speak to this because you watched this when it came out and kind of enjoyed the journey with me. I took heat in the early 2000s, so it's probably about 2003, 2004. I wrote an article about 10 cult films that aren't really cult yet. and I put yet as the capital letters. And I took heat for this one in particular because it was a Disney movie. It was too big of a movie to put on that list. My argument was, even if it's a popular movie or a big movie, you guys are not aware of how big and passionate the fandom for this movie was. Because if you remember, like in the 90s and in the 2000s, it hadn't blown up yet, right, Loki? It really was sort of kind of like more like a goth type movie. It had more of a Halloween fandom than a Christmas fandom yet. It really hadn't grown or expanded yet. It wasn't really until the 2000s and the later part where the merch kind of rolled out. They marketed it towards women and men, toys, shirts, everything. And now, of course, it's probably one of the bigger brands for them as far as merch goes. But at that time, it really wasn't quite so big yet, was it?
No, it wasn't. And there were people that tried to pan it. It was Burton has this thing. Whether it's Frankenweenie, whether it's Edward Scissorhands, whether it's Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, whatever it is, there is this thing. And he started out with like claymation. So it's not a surprise that this got as big as it got eventually. But it has done nothing but build its fan base over the years. So the more people see it, the more people that start to fall in love with it, the bigger it's gotten, to the point where if you walk into any Disney store, you're going to find merch for this movie, no matter what time of year it is. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of summer, you're going to find Nightmare Before Christmas merch. It's big.
But if you were on the clock to like the Bush administration, Loki, we were the oddballs because we had shirts and merch.
Yeah,
we really were. We were really. I know this is really like a life lesson for folks that can rewind the clock, but I'm telling you, like 2005 to 2010 or so, it was. I had like 2 shirts, and they weren't really. It's like anytime they would land in like the Disney store in the mall, I would buy one. I remember getting these little ornaments and things. Like they were just anything that popped up because it was not a common thing, and it's so strange to think of this film that way because it's so massive now. Go ahead, Ironcaster. What were you going to say, brother?
Oh, I was going to say it's gotten so big you can't go through like a Walmart or mall parking lot without seeing at least one Jack Skellington like sticker on the back of a car. Like it is just that ubiquitous. Like it has overtaken like Calvin peeing on the logo.
You know what was funny? Years ago, my family, we started shortly after I got out of college. We became Disney Vacation Club members. So we've got the timeshare and all that stuff before Disney had its great fall. And I remember going, and they had an entire store in both downtown Disney, just about. It was a big section, but also in the Magic Kingdom, where there was nothing but this merch. And I looked at it, and I'm thinking, these are all really cool. One of these days I need to watch this movie. But it was flying off the shelves. You had the cups, you had the shirts, you had Christmas decorations, all kinds of things. It was just amazing how much money they made off of merch. I imagine it's far more than they ever did off the movie.
Yeah, I mean I remember. So we have 5 kids, so we went to divvy up the Christmas ornaments. So they used to always get Christmas ornaments when they were kids. Well, in that box, and I didn't know this at the time, were my set of these ornaments. So they were like these mini ones. They were some of the very first ones that came out for Nightmare. They were like these little tiny ones, one of each character. And 2 daughters were going head to head over who was going to get that set because it was like, whoa. So anyway. Penny is here. Hey, lady. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate seeing you here. And yes, Chris says, wow, I thought I was late to discovering this. Welcome aboard Adega. See, listen, you know what, though, Chris? Adega, this is what we love doing Talk Hard for. This is where I think the 3 of us have really become bigger and stronger friends because the idea that we could dust something off or introduce something to someone that we know is really good, especially in this age where at least many things are subpar, if not outright bad, it feels good doing that. So for sure,
it's become a lot of fun in getting to discover, what movies have we seen and what movies have we not seen. That's kind of one of my favorite things to turn around and like the look on your guys' face if I tell you something like, by the way, guys, I've never seen Aliens.
I know we have a lot to work on. We do. We have 2024 will be busy. Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen it? I guess it's not time to pick on you, but holy moly, I thought I was bad.
Look, I think I might as well throw a bomb out there to kind of shock some guys, and I'm waiting for Loki to blow up on me now.
No, it needs to happen in January. It needs to happen in January. Maybe that's our week 3. Maybe that's our week 3. So
yeah. AC
from across the world, there in Japan. Hey, AC, what a great guy! What a great guy! He was streaming live at like 4 or 5 a.m. Eastern time. So in Japan, he was there putting together one of his. He's got the Venator, the big giant ship, Lego ship. So the one that's like, what, 3 feet long or something like that? Massive. So he started that project, did a little stream, testing out his stuff. So make sure if you check out some of these great creators that are with us here. So Lady Mist is here. Hey there. Great to have you with us. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's see. John is here. We got Shaggy in the house. What's up? What's up? Yes, great to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for hanging with us.
Hey there.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to another show. My daughter and grandson love this movie. It's so cute to see my 3-year-old grandson sing with the movie. Yeah, Penny, you're stealing my thunder. I was going to... I don't know, Adega, how you came away with the music and stuff like that, but as someone who has grandkids now, the kids can hear a piece of music that sounds like one of these songs or something like that. Or you could just be around them and go, this is Halloween. And then they're off and running. They just start going. They know all the song, they know the words, they know the music, and they are on. It's very, I have to give my daughter credit, man. She raised up like the musical cues from this has really ingrained in them and made them very harmonious. I'm very proud of them. It's really awesome. Let's see. I think I got most of the chat. 24. Yes, the year Ironcaster learns to appreciate aliens. Yes, we will definitely get him introduced to that. So we definitely, yeah, for sure.
Might I suggest we save that one for the dessert after we go through Halo?
Oh, that's not a bad idea, Loki. What do you think? You think we could have that debate you to get the cheese through the maze to keep Loki? I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned that I'm going to have to email Eris to make sure she helps make sure he doesn't bail on me, because I'm worried that Halo is that bad.
Yeah, I worry for you guys.
They've already threatened to do the Clockwork Orange thing where I have to sit there tied down with my eyes, being held open to watch it.
I'll make sure you get good therapy afterwards.
See,
just think, if you can survive Highlander 2, you'll be able to survive Halo.
Highlander 2 is massively better than and I'm talking about the original where he's like, we're from the planet Zeist, brother.
I don't know that I can.
That version is better than Halo.
All right. Okay, so this great film, which is almost like very similar to some others that we've talked about, it being like this segue film. Now, I admit that we skip Thanksgiving in a lot of ways, but the concept of Halloween into Christmas was what spawned Burton to write. I believe he wrote a poem, and he wrote like random drawings, and it was basically he was at a store or something and saw all the merchandise being taken down or being changed over from the ghouls and goblins and masks and stuff to Christmas stuff. And that's what prompted this concept, at least in its very original phase. But I will be honest, I think this is another one of these lightning in a bottle things. Loki, if Burton could have actually have directed this, I wonder how good it would have been, because Henry Selick is like a genius when it comes to this stuff. He is like James and the Giant Peach is an underrated film for sure. There's so much in this that I think he was able to take ideas that Burton had crafted and they just manifest them and run with them.
No, absolutely. And like I said earlier, if you see Tim Burton's early work, his claymation work, you know where a lot of this stuff comes from. Same thing with Frankenweenie. Same thing with
Edward.
Same thing with Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
And that early work, that first piece of work he did while he was in film school, even then, he had Vincent freaking Price doing voiceover work for his original first film. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's one of those insane things you're like, and he wanted to work. This was before the Christopher Lee thing. Christopher Lee was like his backup choice. I mean, imagine that, picking Christopher Lee to back up something that you had done, that you'd originally concepted with Vincent Price in that role. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, and you can see all of that in this. Every aspect of Burton's past is in this movie, and in a lot of his other movies too.
Adega, what was one of the things that really struck you, especially in this introduction to this world that they've created, this Halloweentown, and just some of the different, I mean, the characters and stuff, the designs are just so dynamic and interesting. And I mean, I say colorful, even though it's the Halloween segment of the movie, but I mean, just no two things look alike, so to speak. What was your initial reaction or thoughts to some of that?
To be honest with you, we sit here in a lot of these circles, we talk about how inspiration has failed modern creators. And I was looking at this, and the thought kept coming to my head. I heard this from several different people, and I don't believe it, where they would say that everything has already been written or already done. There's just people reinterpreting things. And I look at this and I say, I don't recall this ever being in history. This is something original. All of these little characters are something out of this guy's vision. And it made me appreciate far more a creative mind given the tools to present it to people instead of what we get today, where they're non-creatives, they're more preachy. So I think that was it. There was this joy that I had to actually watch something that was creative for the first time in a while. So
That's awesome.
You know, it's dead serious, you know, and then I started paying attention to the voice and stuff. I know we're going to get into that, but you know, seeing like the clown that tears off its face, or you know, the worm looked so very familiar to the one in Beetlejuice. It was just, I don't know. It was, I deeply appreciate. Oh, and the doctor.
Oh, the doctor.
I know you guys would think, oh yeah,
The brain
they
opening
would
up,
like the
and yeah.
like, yeah, the Mad Doctor. Yep.
Yes, there you go. Yeah.
I'm going. Yeah, I can kind of relate. so yeah.
I don't know, Ironcaster, if you can pull up, I don't know if you could just quickly check for us to see if there's any Tim Burton original sketches or something like this, because I think what Burton would do brilliantly, folks, I was so massively a fan of this guy. After meeting him on Edward Scissorhands' set, I was just like addicted to his creative process, because then I was like, there were articles and stuff like that post Batman and everything like that, and it was like he would just have these random drawings, these random sketches, these ideas and stuff like that. So you end up, you know, like you were saying, Adega, these different designs and like that. They were like these things that were built. It took 3 years of production just to make this movie. But I mean, we're talking, I think, well, look, you were talking about like from film school. So how many years before that was this man making sketches and ideas and thoughts? And all I could think of when I think of this film, and I know this may be very hyperbolic, I'm really ready to take my hate. I'll start with Loki first, but the ammo and the gun. This only, to me, rivals like George Lucas with Star Wars. Like, it's literally like decades of this guy's life you're seeing manifested into like some random sketch for, you know, Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Some random sketch for Oogie Boogie. Like, that to me is what this film become.
No, I wouldn't shoot into you at all for that. I absolutely agree with that. And
Yeah,
one of the problems today is we do not have this. A lot of, and I talked about this morning, a lot of what we see, a lot of what's going on, even Halo 2, a lot of the shows we get, they are not being conceptualized like this any longer. This is a dead art form. Okay, I'm not just talking about what he did by hand. I'm not talking about this drawing. I'm talking the way he conceptualized these worlds and these stories. That is gone, ladies and gentlemen. They are not doing that anymore. Storyboarding your movie, mapping it all out, that's out the window now. We make a movie by committee. So they get a committee, they get a table of different people, and they pull out a whiteboard and say idea, and then they go with the ideas they want to. They don't storyboard anything. They don't plan it out. It's not that idea isn't in there growing for years at a time. They're just pulling it out of their backside and thinking, oh, it'll work. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely this. And we heard a lot about this with like the Marvel Kevin Feige side. We'll just fix it in post and things like that. Soul Assassin series is a classic that can never be remade. I know the idea of them doing another film, Burton had taken control of. So I guess the deal was that he was trying to get control back from Disney because he knew he was stuck. He was stuck in the middle of doing Batman Returns and then whatever next, and they were trying to fast track this through. So he got basically a big check and then creative control. He basically, I don't want to say owns it, but he has some sort of creative control that prevented them from making Jack Goes into the Thanksgiving Land or the Easter Land or whatever it is they were trying to conceive at the time, and to keep the stop motion because they wanted to do some sort of animation. Ironcaster, can you imagine the idea of what a difference this is for like the stop motion versus like traditional two-dimensional animation? What a different feel it would have.
Yeah, that is one of the unfortunate things, though, because to go and try to change that, you're playing with the core aspects of what makes this so beloved, and it's down to so many things that have really worked to make this to make the soup that goes into this film work like it does, from just down to the distorted German expressionist stylings that have really kind of twisted the way Tim Burton kind of does his art with these films. You have just down to the stop motion of it all. Like I was watching it today with some of these shots of the camera panning around, and I'm just thinking about just the hours and hours and hours, the days of effort that must go into doing this single sequence that has no breaks.
That's true. That's true. Doc, you were talking about sort of like that first impression, or at least that sort of like I'll try to put words in your mouth a little bit. You can correct me, of course, like that initial awe of what am I seeing, and the artistic. There's something. I get real nerdy, and I'll be like you almost have your breath taken away when you get to experience like really truly inspirational and moving art for the first time. And to me, something like this is kind of like that. And when we talk about the stop motion part, it wouldn't shock you to hear, there's 12 hours to film 3 seconds. It was pretty much how some of this stuff went. That doesn't surprise you at all. But what are your thoughts on like the idea of just doing 3-dimensional versus like this not being like a 2D art thing? Did you know it was a stop motion project, or did you not? Did you know that or not?
I knew it was a stop motion project, but a couple things. The first thing that got me was, and you guys had talked about this before, and I got to try and remember the other aspect. Well, you know what? I'll talk about it first. There is a feeling in artwork, whether it be good music, good drawings, various different, the way people act, that comes through, where if it's AI generated, you don't get that. You just can't get the feeling. And then I looked at the credits at the end of it and was watching how many people they had it. And if you look at even the modern games, the credits will go on for 20, 30 minutes with hundreds and hundreds of people, where you look at the people who did the design of the models and the different stuff, it's just a handful each, which meant that the ones that were on the project were true artists and put feeling into it in every single caption that they did. The other thing too it's probably one of the biggest things that goes along with what Loki said, was that, and then you mentioned it briefly, is fixing things in post. With this, you cannot do that. You had to put all of your energy, your brain power, and your love into it 1 or 2 times, and there is no post-production. You can't go to a computer or use an AI or have a team of people reanimate it, because this has to be done right the first time. And it shows that there is an emotion that comes through with true art. And yeah, seeing it for the first time, seeing the characters, the way their smiles will go, the blinking of the girl's eyes, it's unmatched.
I can't wait to hear. I'd love to hear your thought. Message me when you watch it a second time, because you're going to pick up on so much more. I'm serious. 100%. Every time I watch this movie, There's another character in the background. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you, but there are like cameos and little hidden things all over a movie like this. It's one of those things where I almost don't want to ruin it for people. So you'll see it, and then you'll never be able to unsee it. But that's kind of stuff's in there. And let me say hey to Dempsey. Talk about a musical person who probably has tons of insight as well for a film like this. That's just thank you so much for being here, brother. Great to see you. And yeah, the committee, Saul Assassin's right. 99.9% CGI now. Yeah, it's just this smattering of ideas, and they're piecing meal things together and whatever. Yeah, it does really show. So, AJ, I'm just so hesitant. I don't want anything Disney. I don't want them touching it until I can get a recalibration of who the creative teams are. I get you. But yeah.
Well, I think in terms of prequels, there was a couple of there was I think PS2 game and a Game Boy Advance game that you might be able to find out there that could kind of fill that in, because I think one is supposed to be like a prequel to Jack becoming the Pumpkin King.
Right. Yeah. This is a great shot. I'm glad you stopped there, Icus. I hope that was. I assume that you did that on purpose, right? Because that's one of those great designed shots that you were talking about before. Like once you see this and you see that cinematography, you're like, whoa, this is a stop motion shot from inside the tree looking out. That is crazy. Yeah. Beautiful stuff. You're more than welcome, brother. You earned it. I got to get with you, man. We got to get together sometime. Maybe after the first of the year, it'll probably be easier with my schedule, but definitely would love to get together with you and do that. So one of the things I think you were talking about earlier, Adega, and we'll let Loki speak to this a little bit first, is that incredible voice cast, because they had people brought in, and obviously it was pretty early on that Danny Elfman sort of like planted his flag of like, I'll write the song. He talks a lot about how he sees himself as Jack Skellington. It was easy to write these songs. He was already going through imposter syndrome and unhappiness from being from Oingo Boingo to now what. And he was like, well, I'll sing, but they wanted a different person to do some of the narration, or deliver the dialogue. But the cast, it almost feels like every time I watch this, I need a refresher on who some of the great voices are and things like that. Loki, what are some of the things that jump out at you as far as the voices when you watch this movie?
Right away, Dr. Finkelstein. William Hickey is like a legend.
Yes.
No matter whether he's in a film, whether he's voicing a film, William Hickey is a freaking legend. So right off the bat, that's what I'd say. Catherine O'Hara as Sally just nails it. And of course, you've got Jack. You've got Chris Sarandon.
Yeah.
Besides the voices, you've got Danny Elfman doing the music. And I don't always like Danny Elfman, but Batman and this movie, and there's some other movies, absolutely great. Absolutely freaking great. And the music is just as important as this movie, as every single voice actor is.
This soundtrack is it's pretty rare that you can have one, because I get bagged by the family a lot for not being a big fan of musicals per se, but this is the exception to that rule for sure. This is the one I always forget to put at the top of the list. This is the one that's like, I'll come up with a couple that I like, and then I'll go, oh, wait a minute. Obviously, I mean Nightmare Before Christmas. But let me touch on William Hickey, just in case someone's watching and does not know. The crazy old uncle in Christmas Vacation, Lewis, the one who's got the stogie, that's William Hickey. Just so you guys know, I don't know anyone who has ever seen Christmas Vacation and doesn't know who Lewis would be. But if you've ever seen like Puppet Master and some other thing, he's got a long resume of being a very, very active actor. But it's one of those things too where you see him, you're like, oh, is that William Hickey? Yes, it is. So it's that kind of thing. So it's one of the
Grace.
Grace, can you get my stogie?
Get my stogie.
Obviously, Paul Rubens is Locke. He's one of the ones, Lock, Shock, and Barrel. So there's a lot of those great things. One of them that doesn't get a lot of love, and I just can't do it because I can't imagine someone else doing it, even though I know it probably easily could have been done. Is Oogie Boogie? Ken Page is Oogie Boogie. There's something I feel Oogie Boogie. I don't know how to explain that. Or maybe you guys can help me get my head around why Oogie Boogie. Just the voice, the body movement, just everything about this character to me has always been one of my favorites. I don't know how to get my head around how good it is.
Oogie Boogie Man.
And
For you.
it's not even just the character design, but it's even the choice of color is one of I feel the strongest elements in it. For them to go for the black light effect with it, to take this little underworld and further distort it, and it makes everything seem twisted and darker and more sinister, but more kind of cool. It draws you in. It's dangerous.
And I swear they had to be videoing him, because if you've seen the live performance he does, he is so animated when he is singing it that you're like, they had to take his movements and put it in there.
Yeah. Oh, I just love this so much.
Well, I appreciate the scene because you see the roulette and it has so much of a jazz blues feel to it. And again, like you said, the way the motions were, it matched exactly what you would think a macabre jazz concert would be. It was so very good.
Ironcaster, as you saw the transition from, because you said you watched it again today, as I did. Well, I was trying to pay a little more attention to that transition in the story, from that first part of the movie to the latter part. And one of the things that really struck me today that I didn't do enough justice to, and I'll get right back to chat after this question, but it's pretty rare in a cartoon/animated project. They really nail the pain of a main character. You know what I mean? Like, you really feel Jack going, no one gets me. No one understands what I'm going through. I should be this icon. I'm famous. I'm powerful. I'm whatever. And I'm miserable on the inside. And this film just is a bullseye with that. And it really struck me today. I don't know if that's something that you could speak to or not, but somebody just watched it kind of thing. I just wanted to, as I put that out there, what your thoughts are.
Yeah, the thing is, it totally brings you into this, and right off the bat, we have this is Halloween, and you're brought fully into that Halloween spirit, and then you're met with this guy who's on top of the world, the Pumpkin King, the most celebrated man or skeleton in town,
right?
And yet he feels unfulfilled. He's accomplished everything, and if here in the life on afterlife, whatever you want to call it, there's nowhere left for him to go. He's looking for something more, and I think we all can easily empathize with that, which makes this work so well.
Very true. Chris Burgess pointed out, Adega, with stop motion, it has to be thought out methodically and with love. Agreed. Clarifying AJ's comment earlier about doing a prequel, but just wants to see Jack enjoying Halloween and being the Pumpkin King. A little bit more of that. I got you. I see what you're saying. So
it would be fun to
see
a bit more of that.
What's that?
Up, Squeaka.
Hey, Squeaka. It would be kind of fun to see that, to get to see that Jack thoroughly enjoying himself. Like, even if it's just like a little, like, what if we could get like a little 5-10 minute short of kind of, we let him go do this. Let's just let Jack have a full Halloween thing. We can put it out. We can just do like a full like celebration of Halloween.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I was thinking that this is completely random, connect the dots, but I was thinking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit and how they have that little commercial in the beginning, and that's kind of like another one of those things that's been lost. Like, we don't do that anymore. And this would be, I could see that being a prequel. Like, I could see a little prequel short cartoon or something like that. Not even a prequel, it could have been a sequel. You know, him just being happy doing it. So I could agree with that. So okay, sorry, I went back too far. Sorry. Sometimes with StreamYard, I definitely still struggle with hitting the right. Connie is here. Hey, Connie, good to see you. Thank you so much for being with us. Just shows the imagination of Burton can be both amazing and terrifying at the same time. Indeed. Let's see. We watch this movie every year on the 1st of October and the 1st of December. That's kind of a cool tradition. You got Loki, you've been watching this the longest with me. You have any cool traditional dates that you kind of get to this one right away or not?
Usually somewhere around Halloween and usually somewhere right around Christmas. So we don't have an exact date, but yeah, I watch it twice a year, like Squeaka.
Soul Assassin about the video game. What was that you were saying, Ironcast, earlier about the game? I'm not too familiar with it.
So there was one on the Game Boy Advance. There was one, I believe, on PlayStation 2. And then, of course, there's the Kingdom Heart levels. Which actually, Kingdom Hearts 2 does act like a more of a full sequel, and that has like a whole fight with like after the events of the film where you're like, Oogie Boogie's still around.
Okay. AJ saying he's miserable, but it's because he's tired of being great and loved. That's different from being in a position of responsibility and not just feeling fit for the job. Yeah. Definitely. Adega, you talked about going to the parks and that Disney experience and embracing the merch and seeing the different things like that. Were you ever there when they did like the Halloween events or something like that, where they transform the Haunted Mansion into Jack's house?
No.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
We were, like I said, we don't do Disney anymore, even though I own the timeshare. But it's our little way of keeping money from the mouse. But we were very adept at knowing when to be there and how to get the greatest amount of usage of time. And going around Halloween, Christmas, spring break, those are times you just don't want to be there.
Right.
We missed it. But there was one thing I wanted to mention, if you don't mind. It was back when you asked Ironcaster about this, and it made me think when the emotion of Jack, and it reminded me an awful lot of The Hobbit. You have Bilbo, who's having this great celebration of his life, and he is unfulfilled there. Everything is gone, and he just sneaks off to get away. And it's the same with Jack, we've done this, happy me, yay. And you can feel the emotion building as the band watches him just kind of slunk away. So it was really good at how they can make a claymation have emotion besides just with voice. It was good.
I want to see mountains again, Gandalf. Mountains! Yes.
Right. Something new.
Do you feel that way sometimes, Loki?
Don't tell Eris that. She'll be like, I'm so sorry I made you move to Texas. And I'll be like, no, it's all right.
No.
Sometimes I do. I miss the mountains, even though I will never get on another motorcycle again, ever. I miss riding my motorcycle through the mountains in Branson.
I think that is really true to Loki, Ironcaster touched on it and Adega touched on it too. I think we all can. I think we all feel. I think if we're being honest with ourselves, I think the genius of this is Burton was being very transparent about how he saw himself too, right? Because he, I think he had a lot of this stuff in his head and a lot of drawings, a lot of ideas. But I actually do truly feel post Pee-wee to Batman, Beetlejuice, all this is happening really, really fast. Imposter syndrome, even though he's also very arrogant too, and he's got an odd. I don't think that had really manifested quite yet. And I think what he nailed on was that emotion that we all do feel sometimes. Like that just, I should be happy, or at least happier than I am right now. And I don't know why. Like I don't totally get what I need. And I know I have felt like that many, many times. I can't even say that I don't feel that way now in some ways, whether it be my day job situation or things like that, or you just get yourself kind of mind pretzeled into like, what do I do next kind of stuff. And maybe it's not maybe quite as extreme as like a depression where you feel like Jack's kind of getting to, but more of just that mind pretzel of like, what now? And this movie really, really starts to take you on an interesting journey through all of that. I just really love that about this film.
Now you got me thinking about Eureka Springs and the pig trail and riding across Arkansas. Damn it, Pops.
Look, AJ's like, I miss the Tennessee landscape with the mountains and river. Texas is flat, mostly stagnant waters. Yeah, I'm so happy that I moved to the woods, guys, because it gives me a little bit of that back. Because it's obviously not as hilly as Tennessee and stuff. You don't have like a Chattanooga experience or, those kinds of things. But I do get some of it. And in Central Florida, there's like a massive thoroughbred racehorse areas. So there's these incredibly beautiful sprawling ranches and things like that. So I get a little bit of that. But no, I totally get it, guys. Hey, listen, I'm just planning vacation 2025, Loki. That's all. That's all. Yes, we'll meet Squeaky there. We'll meet Squeaky there. So
See, I'm a water
Squeaka,
dog. You
yeah.
can have the mountains. I grew up at the beaches of California, and I've been in the Midwest most of my life. And finally, here in Michigan or Wisconsin, there's lakes all around, so it kind of gives me a little bit of feel. But I understand how you guys are about the hills and everything else. There's the nostalgia there, and
I love
flat
that.
ground just doesn't cut it.
Because I've been in Florida for so long, I love the beaches, but I really love the beaches when I'm not going to get sunburned. So it's like one of those things. If I can just go the certain times of the year where I just know I'm not going to have to deal with that, that raging, scorching heat. But the beauty of the waves and stuff like that is still there. So I get it. I get it.
You don't want to be a lobster huge and red?
Pale to peel, back to pale, brother. It's brutal. This guy, yeah. Bobby says my daughter loves this movie. Don't, Bobby, do you love this movie? We need to know the truth, Bobby. It's okay, Bobby. You're safe. You're among
need to know.
You're among friends. It's okay. I love this movie.
So let me ask you guys now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite background character in this movie? Because there's so many like interesting designs. I think that's something. I think there's a lot to appreciate with just all the characters. You don't see much, or you only see like in a larger crowd.
It's so much of that. I wish, and again, I don't know if you guys could speak to this. I wish this was licensed to the McFarlane people and they could do like 100 toys. Like, this is nuts. Like, I just love all of those. Like, Adega, you were talking about some of those in that opening scene with the town and the little town square. I just wish I had more of that. I obviously I mentioned Oogie Boogie. Lock, Shock, and Barrel were always super, super fun. It's just the goofy kid part and all of this. Like, I loved it. So those are like my picks, I guess.
Well, those guys there
that's Lock, Shock,
it's
and Barrel.
between the Doctor and them. And I guess the biggest thing with and getting into there was so much music, and I'm a music guy. Their bit when they did their trio and singing, I don't know if you guys realized how difficult of a song that would have been for the singers. That was just nuts. I sat there, and it was a long song, and watching them go through that and at the pace they were doing, it was just so impressive. And I fell in love with these crazy kids, and you can think about it when you're talking McFarlane, you get the alternate face because they have these faces and they have the faces with the masks on. So yeah, it's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, that's the kidnap the Sandy Claus. That's how they pronounce it in the movie, is Sandy Claus. So they kidnapped the Sandy Claus song. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Also, like, just real quick, their lair. Just like this like, twisted treehouse from the mind of Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and just the idea, and who doesn't get enough credit in this film is the camera people. The idea they're able to pull off the lighting and the design and to do it's like, okay, we made all these models. Now make it look good. Now make it actually look real and not as though you're doing model work and stuff like that. So yeah. AJ says, I don't love the movie, but my wife does. Okay, all right. And Squeaka said, what she said, I don't live there now. Just like going there, live in the hill country, Texas now. Cool.
You and me both, Squeaka.
I feel like this movie is, too, about recognizing the people in your community, too. Sometimes we fall in love with the glamour of another crowd and forget the people there for us that know us and love us. Wow, that is so true. Very powerful, Squeaka. Thank you so much for that. I mean, really, really. I mean, obviously, Sally's story centers around so much of that. And I know that's where Mrs. Pops would point her finger, is of that groundedness of relating to Sally, for sure. 100%.
Imagine feeling out of place, but you have this group that accepts you, but still you feel out of place.
Mm-hmm.
How that is so true for Sally, where the only thing that she really resonates, or the only person she really resonates with, is Jack. And Jack's got his own things going on and his own group, almost like a subgroup of the group he's a part of, that he's trying to work with. And even though she's so connected to Jack, she still feels kind of left out and detached from that.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. What were some of your observations with that Adega as a first-time watcher?
I have to agree with that. In a town that seems so connected, there, and being in this community, we've lost a few over the years. It just sometimes you have to take that moment to appreciate those people who were there, but you don't necessarily recognize them as often as you should. And she's always been there, and everyone knows she was there. She wasn't kept a prisoner or anything, but per se, she's very adept at poisoning the doc. But just what she was feeling, no one recognized. What Jack was feeling, no one recognized. And it seems like a failing of our busy lives. And Halloweentown, the vampires are doing their thing. The mayor's not doing anything except pretending to be a mayor. But the little things, the emotions of their neighbors, Squeaker was right. He was right.
Yeah. She says that's why I resonate with Sally. Yeah, I agree. Jacob Ironside is here as well. Hey, brother. Great to see you. He always show on tonight as well. That would be 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time, if you so inclined. So great stuff over there on his channel as well. So yeah, there's so much of this. And again, Loki speak to this, like the whole Jack Sally thing for us, I think as fans from the get-go, we like this will become a thing, like a relationship identity thing. Now it's almost like commonplace. Now the whole his and her concept is almost like, it's almost too commercial now. It's almost kind of, I'm kind of like, again, I'm the bitter old man screaming at the clouds a little bit, but I'm like, you guys weren't there when it all started, just so you know.
Well, Jack's so wrapped up in,
yeah.
I mean, if you look at it from this big picture, okay, look at it from the holiday picture, okay, you've got this giant group that pretty much is like responsible for holidays. I'm not just talking about Christmas or Halloween, it's all of them, right? And then you've got subsects of each one. So you've got the subsects of Halloween, Christmas, Easter Bunny, all that. And then inside that community, you've got little cliques of each one. And then even as you go down the microscope, you've got Sally watching Jack, admiring Jack for what he's doing. And she's still, Jack's oblivious to this because he's a male. And he's just like, he's wrapped up in this. I have found my goal in life is to go and be a Christmas guy. I have found new reason for existence. And he can't see that reason for him is right in front of him. That's Sally. It's not the Christmas spirit that he's missing. It's that closeness with that person. It's the closeness with Sally. And once that resonates with Jack, I think all of the other things, all of those other groups, all the other sex within sex and cliques and all that, it just melts away because he has found his purpose and he's found his reason, and that's Sally.
IRONCASTER, when you think about like that analogy, I think was so on point with about he's like thinking like a guy. It's like he sees something bright and shiny. It's like the new cool thing, and that's what Christmas is, right? It's like I saw a boat and it has like the cool shiny paint, so now I want a boat. And it's like, yeah, but you don't even know how to swim properly. Like this isn't going to go well. Like so. Is it a little bit like that when you watch a film like this, or you're like, oh wow, this is kind of a metaphor for a whole lot of things?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot to come into it with that. Though the one thing that was largely kind of going through my mind in watching this was thinking about how it's kind of, I feel like it's been sort of over commercialized this here, but in kind of sitting back to taking in what you guys have been saying here, like I absolutely see that here. He sees this as some new Jack sees this as some new problem he has to obsess over to resolve. That it's become so all-encompassing to him that he can't see the forest for the trees here. That nothing could possibly go wrong. Like, I'm going to make sure this is something I see as a problem I need to address to, make myself happy, to bring this to us, to try to everyone in town to try to introduce them all, even though no one quite gets it. And Jack doesn't see that his attempts to try to lean into this like he does is changing the very thing he was like he became so engrossed with.
Right. Let's say hey to Pat S. He's here. He drops Adega's link for us. Thank you so much for that, Pat. Great to see you. And I'm just ignoring your other comment about having purple tips and stuff like that. That's all you, Pat. You keep going there, brother. And yes, it's a good thing you didn't go through the Thanksgiving door. This film could have been a whole lot weirder. Indeed. Okay, so let's go back to we kind of talked about some of the secondary characters and that kind of thing, at least a little bit. Loki, is there like a favorite song? Is there like one where you're like, that song could keep going?
My kids sang all of these songs.
Yeah.
The most popular one was, this is Halloween, this is Halloween, ba la 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 da 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 da, this is Halloween. The Oogie Boogie song. Probably those two are probably Oogie Boogie might be a little bit more than that. So
cool. Ironcaster?
Obviously, look, this is it's a little tough with this one because there are so much of this entire soundtrack has become so iconic. But I think to be a little bit different here and give some more light to one of the songs that wasn't brought up was "What's This." Just that sudden discovery. That sudden discovery of this new holiday and what is all this? The sight, the sounds, the smells. This is so unlike anything I've seen at all of my life.
Yeah, that's good. Adega, you felt the same way too about that one, right?
It was kind of a tie between that and then the one where he gets the realization of how he's going to go about things. He's doing that solo. But I again, coming from a music background, I was analyzing it because something about Danny Elfman when he's singing these, because he, there's the voice actor, but he does all the singing for Jack. And he has a way, whether it been Oingo Boingo or what have you, sorry about the vehicles in the back, but he could actually, his talent comes through where he puts in a ton more emotion than your average singer. Where when he's singing something, it isn't just the words that's conveying it, but you can hear emotion coming through more real. And so it was, he's in his tower. I'm trying to remember how the song goes. Cause like I said,
it's the one right before What's This, correct?
Yes.
That's the one. Yeah.
It's after that. It's after he already has the Christmas decorations. He's going through the books, reading what Christmas is, trying to figure it out. What am I missing? And then he finally figures out, wait, I should be Santa.
That's probably the Obsession song.
Yeah.
It's called Jack's Obsession because I like Jack's Lament. I like Jack's Lament a lot right before that. Like it's right before What's This. It's like he's in a place and it's just like this, again, like you said, Danny Elfman brings so much more than just singing a song. There's so much of this emotion on his sleeve of kind of a quiet despair that's right there under the surface, and it bubbles right forth. So yeah,
there is a thing just on the music aspect of things. There is a thing where you can play, like I was a performer I did saxophone, and you can play notes. You can do them correctly. You can fool people into think something is done the way it should be done. And then there's the next level where it's no longer music that's coming out of you. It is your soul and your emotion. And if you get used to it and you get attuned to it and you're familiar with music enough to where you can understand that. Danny Elfman did that with this. He wasn't singing. He was sharing his heart through the music because he wrote it and he expressed it through voice, but there was a ton of motion and you could pick it up. And coming from someone who did, the dark rock type stuff, it was pretty cool. It was really dang cool.
And I see what you're kind of getting. I see what you're getting at there because I think to kind of play into that Oingo Boingo thing, with the Jack's Lament, am I trying much too hard? It's a little bit of that imposter syndrome. There's a lot of this that you could even argue Danny Elfman is kind of bringing through with the music.
Yes.
100%.
You know, to go just a little YouTube talk here. There are times in this movie, and there's times in each one of our lives where we ask, "What I'm doing worth it?
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm doing fulfilling whatever it is, the creative need, the helpful need, the whatever it is that you're looking for need." And at the end of this movie, it's almost like Jack realizes what Sally does for him is she is the Mary Jane, his Mary Jane. She encourages him to go forth and be Jack Skellington, to be Halloween, to show him that it is appreciated, that it is loved, that there is a reason why he's doing what he's doing, and it has nothing to do with Christmas. It's doing what he's passionate about and what he does because of how people react to that and appreciate that and love that. Sometimes we need that little voice, that little bit of encouragement to go, you know what, you are doing the right thing. Keep doing it because people love it and people care about it. You don't have to reinvent yourself and become Santa Claus, Jack. You just have to give the people what they love and take pride and accomplishment from that, and know that you mean something, not just to all of them, but to someone close to you as well.
One of the thoughts that I was going through is very similar to that, but it related to a whole bunch of other movies, especially holiday movies, but you can catch it with the most popular movies. And maybe I'm reading too deep, but it was an impression I got a lot when I was going, because first time through this and seeing everything, it sent a flood of emotions to me. But the more successful the movies, I noticed that they tend to, especially with the lead characters in Christmas or holiday or heroic ones, are an expression more of self-sacrifice. You're giving, and the hero is one who determines that their life is secondary to other people's. We get that with Maverick to some degree, but most of the really good Christmas ones where they are giving. And I appreciated that with this, because at the beginning, Jack was all about how he can be a hero, where in the end, that wasn't what was needed. He needed to learn from Sally that it's about the giving to somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah, the self-sacrifice matters, and his purpose is so much greater than what he realizes. And I think that's what, when Loki was talking about YouTube stuff too, like you end up in a place sometimes where you feel like you're doing something similar, or maybe you feel like you're running on a treadmill and you feel like, am I making a difference or whatever? And it's like, it's always this thing. I'll never forget this thing that Michael Jordan had said. I always play that hard because it's the one time that kid might be, it's the first and only time that kid might be seeing me play. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's very hard to keep that mindset and not let it just consume and exhaust you. And with Jack, he's just been doing this Halloween thing for so long, it just feels sort of pointless. He's not seeing the appreciation and love he has, especially from Sally. And he's just grabbing the new shiny thing, thinking that all of that is very transferable. And obviously the film is centered around how it's not. So great stuff indeed. Elfman is a great name to have if you're doing a Christmas movie. Okay. Chaos has left a bill. Yes, cranky grandson. All right. Penny's breathing a sigh of relief. Indeed. So, as you move through like the chaos of the Christmas experiment, obviously some of the fun sight gags where it's like, the little boy opens the present, he pulls out the severed head, and there's just all the chaos that comes from that. I think it was fun. I know. As someone who saw it in the theater, I know some of the original responses were just very much like those were played for like sight gags and stuff like that. But I will say I just really enjoyed this conceptually over the years of just this concept of Halloween, just almost like a car crash with Christmas. This movie just embodies this two concepts, because now again, things that weren't this way 20 years ago. People didn't decorate their yards like this for Halloween. Now you have a neighborhood, you almost have somebody who's always got a cemetery, and all. It's so commonplace now, beyond just the scope of we're going to go trick or treating. This movie kind of like conveys these two worlds sort of in collision to one another. Any of you want to kind of speak to that a little bit?
I'll just say you certainly wouldn't have had the 12-foot tall skeletons back then.
No, we did not. We did not. Yeah, we did. We would have been.
Although
really
my favorite
person. Yeah.
My favorite is always seeing that car. You see them about once every few months or so. There's always a car somewhere, like in your neck of the woods, that's always got like is always kind of decked out with the Halloween, with like the spooky stuff, like all year round. It's like, yeah, that's a hearse with a skeleton in the passenger seat.
Yeah, maybe
it's May.
Maybe that's just Ironcaster's neighborhood. I don't know. We'll see.
Funny.
Oh no, we were doing that as kids too.
Funny you say that. I used to actually drive around with a Halloween skeleton in my passenger seat, and it got to the point where like the guy taking my money at Taco Bell, when I'm going through the drive-thru, is like lean over like and just bust out laughing every time he sees it. And then when I took it out, he looked at me, he's like, "Where'd your buddy go?"
Oh, so you didn't replace it with something else. So yeah, he was. Yeah.
Well, the goal was I was gonna like give him like little costumes and stuff, but I think it like broke on me. So I'm gonna have to like, I don't know, put together get me a new skeleton fund or something.
All right.
No, my friends and I, we were bad. My one friend always had skeleton hands sticking out of his trunk. I think one year I had a leash, a dog leash on the back, but there was no dog. Like I had drug it. It just we do all kinds of things.
Vacation on us. He went to Griswold.
Yep,
wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Loki, any crazy Halloween stuff out of you in your world? You got to have 2 or 3 stories for sure.
There is in this neighborhood that I live in, there is a big 4x4 that's got gore and all kinds of stuff, on it. And it's got a big, the big metal bumper and gore, and it's a zombie response unit.
Okay.
It's got, like the 1888, zombie apocalypse thing and all that on it. And yeah, okay. That's all year round for them. So
yeah, I see that for sure. So yeah, back in the day, boy, we were heathens for sure. We went full on Halloween. We were the people before the people existed. So our Halloween party was because my neighbor had like an art studio, and they were into ceramics, and we built and made all sorts of stuff. So we had manufactured ceramic skulls, and we had a chair that would run on propane, so it'd be fire that came out of the top of it, and it was just nuts. It was nuts. So yeah, but didn't stay up year round, just for the Halloween party. So as we move into the final act, and you start to see how Jack's, like, obviously the trauma of like, oh well, this didn't work out well, and Santa Claus has been kidnapped and let go, and he has to kind of face the music with it, which I love that scene, by the way. I love that Santa is kind of just really frustrating. It's just I don't know, there really is not a need for a whole lot of dialogue, so I'm glad they didn't muddle it down with some sort of weird lecture or anything like that. I don't know, what was your first impression with some of this like third act stuff and the resolution of things, Adega?
I laughed my head off, and it's when Santa Claus touched his nose and started blowing fairy dust out his butt. That was funny. But I liked the whole thing. Jack you get to see why Oogie Boogie was nervous around Jack, because he actually, there was a hero in him, as much as he played as just the showman. He actually could take on Oogie Boogie. So I like the final act, but Santa Claus cracked me up.
Jack, you must be double dead.
Yeah, that's really good. The film, of course, is also like one of those things where again, lightning in a bottle. Things that they originally were going to do didn't work out. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I went through some of the trivia, brushed up on some stuff to make sure I didn't forget anything, because I knew this and would have forgotten it. So I'm glad I made a little note of it too. Because Sally, because she's like sewn together the way she is, they had her so she wasn't going to be able to walk properly, but she just kind of looked drunk. But do you notice that they do keep her walking like very rigid? Like she's always kind of like having to be very conscious about how she's walking and things like that. I bring that up because, as we have briefly mentioned, Halo, which brought us all together, which is just one of the multitude of examples that we could pick on where shows that don't have any sense of that kind of detail. A, Loki, that doesn't surprise you, and then B, what are some of those other type of elements for you where you're just like, wow, yeah, that's it. We've touched on so much already, but is there another one of like, yeah, that's a personal touch that it's a lost art?
What's under Oogie Boogie? What's under those? What's
Right.
under the robe?
Yeah.
The first time I saw that, I was like, "Holy crap!" And it makes sense. He is Oogie Boogie, Oogie, almost like Oogie Woogie, Ooey Gooey. He is that. He's the personification of that. There can be no hero in that, because there is nothing heroic about that, like what Adega said.
Or to what regards?
Well, just, the idea that they were like, the attention to detail was that Sally, the way even her walk was considered. Like there was like evaluative thought into, well, she wouldn't really walk like that because she's sewn together. So she would have to kind of have a little bit of a different kind of gait and a different kind of, like, that level of nuance and detail and stuff like that. And again, like, what's inside Oogie Boogie? Like, we can't just take for granted, like, Oogie. So all those kinds of details are sort of like the lost art of why this film 30 years late, we're talking about this film 30 years ago. And to think that so much of this could be done 30 years ago, where we are now, it's almost like an embarrassment.
Well, I think the big thing that the big reason for why this works is so much of this just comes across as a passion project, as a project of love. Because, like, you go back and watch, the naked Oogie Boogie, all the bugs are exposed. You're not getting this shaky sort of animation to it where it seems like, well, I accidentally bumped this little bug on just under his forearm, and now it's out of place and you can just barely catch that. There was so much like attention done to detail that helps this work so well with the medium of stop motion. That's makes this, I think, is probably one of the finest examples of it. Like, as much as you look at a lot of these other, sort of stop motion films, nothing quite compares. Like, yeah, Wallace and Gromit is great, but there's just something about this in that medium.
Yeah, I would think that, obviously the shot that we're having here with what's inside Oogie Boogie is a large part of that. There's a detail that's upon the detail that's in there for sure. So, I wanted to give you guys a chance to speak to, any of you can just speak to this too, because this is one of the things that I don't think most people knew too, is one of the big fights with Disney was how to animate Jack's eyes. Because obviously Disney is all about the eyes, right? It's all about happy eyes, friendly eyes, you emote with the eyes. And Burton's like, no eyes. We're not doing eyes. This is not how it's happened. He has holes. He has dark holes. He's a skull. This is what we're doing. We probably take that for granted, do we not? Like, it's sort of like one of those things, like when you hear me say that, you're like, oh, well, yeah, he'd look ridiculous if he had eyes. But can you imagine, like, the battles with Disney was happening? Like, we were that close, right? We were how much leverage Burton had to this movie, in my opinion, completely not working if he had eyes.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And we were talking about, storyboarding earlier. Imagine an executive coming down from Cinderella's castle, and saying, no, this is the way it has to be. And the creator going, no, this is the way it's going to be, because we're not doing that. This is him. This is what we storyboarded. This is how the character is. We're not adding this thing to it just so you can be happy to it. And that executive going up and trying to fight it and trying to oppose his will on your creation. No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Oh,
that does not
holy
work.
crap. It's freaking me out. Oh, leave it to Ironcaster. Oh, dear Lord. Wow.
No.
Well, someone had to do it.
Yeah, that's so weird. Wow.
Nope.
That'd be a Bob Iger's Jack Skellington.
Man,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Well, fortunately, it did not happen, but wow, that is messed up. Get that off the screen, please. Holy cow. Pat S. is pointing out the great final line. Ain't we a pair, Raggedy Man? Ain't we a pair, Raggedy Man? Wow. Yeah, that's good stuff. Good catch. Yeah, Chris, that is hardcore messed up. That is like a horror movie for sure. That's like Friday Night at Freddy's and all the other nights. All it's just like, whoa, that's creepy and bad. Yeah, don't like that one iota. All right. Okay, well, Adega, let me throw it to you, brother, because this was your first time through. I definitely encourage you for a follow up and catch some of the pieces and breadcrumbs of things that you will pick up next time. But yeah, give us some other random thoughts or things like
Well,
that.
there's a couple
to
things
go
I
out
was
on.
thinking of since Loki brought it up with Oogie Boogie, and I didn't catch it until we were just having the conversation. I remember the kids coming home, and they put the bug in the cage, and they send it down to Oogie Boogie, and the cage comes back up, beat up, and I'm thinking, well, he ate that thing. How gross! Not realizing that he just added to himself. So it was foreshadowing that was there. And here's something too that I think I really appreciated. There was a scene, Zero to some extent, because he's less claymation. It's almost shadowy. I don't know how they put his image on there, but they also did cell drawn ghosts at one point, overlapped over it, and I thought, that you don't see that too much in claymation, and I thought that was such a nice touch to see the different type of medium blended together. It was just for a few seconds, and even you have a sheet with a nose that they call Zero. You can get emotions off of the dang dog. It was impressive.
Yeah, we didn't touch on Zero. He is definitely a fan favorite as well. Definitely one the kids love, for sure. The little pumpkin nose. They were trying to do different things with him too, but his final version is super sweet, super emotional. Love it, love it, love it. So, what about you, Ironcaster? What was it like today? What was it like sitting through this 30-year-old movie today?
Well, first off, just this is one of those times where that realization sunk in for me. Like, oh, this is 30. I was 3 when this came out.
Oh, you're killing me.
Young pup.
I know it's brutal. He does it all the time. Adega. You have to get rid of. If you're going to be around much or with this is the rough part of this show for sure. Is oh crap! It's like it's a 1990 baby. It's like oh my gosh.
89, close.
89, sorry, yeah, Batman. That's right. The Batman year.
The one thing I took away from it as I was kind of sitting there today, pressing play, and I looked at the little tracker. I'm like an hour and 16 minutes. This is tight. This is 80 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That realization is sunk in. Just how little like wasted space there is in this movie. I can't think of a single frame that you could scrap.
Yeah, it's another reason why I think the sequel and stuff like that is just an awful. So, AJ saying he went into more Zero. Yeah, in some ways I do feel like he gets forgotten at times, for sure. Yeah, way back in the 1900s. I know. Nas says I'm his personal Oogie Boogie. Well, yeah, some people would agree with you, Nas. Indeed they would. So I could be. I may be. Pop, we have never, we have neither confirmed nor denied those rumors, Pat. So you're not getting any of that from him. So yes, and AJ
We'll see what
is
happens
seeking
at the
for
family
Ghost Dog.
reunion.
Yeah, you never know. Loki, what about you, my
Blood
friend?
test.
I mean, obviously it's been a long road with a film like this, and you watch it regularly, like I do. What's it feel like now?
That feels just as good as it did when I saw it the first time. If anything, probably a little bit more. I mean, You get into these, I don't do this with every movie. There's only a few movies I do with this with, but there are some movies on the list of, you got to watch it once or twice a year. And to be on that list is, to me, is like a testament that you made a wonderful film that I never get tired of watching. So maybe some years it's not as impactful as others, but usually there's something there. There's something there to remind me of holiday spirit and a giving spirit.
So
should take it all in. Go ahead.
I have one last question for you guys about this film. And I think this is the big one. Is this a Halloween film or a Christmas film?
Both. It's both.
They are not mutually exclusive in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah, two things can be true at once. Two things can be true at once. Well, with that, Ironcaster, we'll put you in the hot seat this week then. So I don't know if you have something. Can you have something to write on? Something to scribble on?
Yes, actually.
Uh-oh.
All right. You got to write down a number between 1 and, let's do 37. Between 1 and 37, folks. Closest without going over. We're going to give away some more from the old Wax Pack library that I got going on here behind me. Let's see. AC did win one. He's got one of the Tron packs going his way. Got a pack of Black Hole, Gremlins 2. Down here on the bottom, I think I have more Gremlins, and I have some 89 Batman left. So you will win one of those packs. So closest without going over. Put your entries in that chat. Between 1 and 37. 1 and 37. Merry Christmas. Pops Christmas. Here we go. So, yeah. But
the secret number is 69.
It
Remember
is
that.
not this
secret
time.
Number is 69.
The secret number usually was 42. That's why I chose something between 1 and 37. So people like Nos, who's keeping score of 42, will know that it's not going to be 42. While we sort out chat, no one get in some of those entries. I see no entries. None of you want anything, so I don't understand what's happening there. I don't know. Maybe my chat froze. Bring back cell animation. Yeah.
It'd be nice. Bring back Pops.
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh. Uh-oh.
All right, folks, line it up. Put in the numbers. Come on.
That was
You're
crazy.
going to.
Did you hit the back button?
No, the cord popped out, so it just blipped. It just blooped it like to go back. It was like, that was weird. Like, I don't know what happened. So it didn't even reset my window. It didn't even take me out. It was weird. I just ended up out of StreamYard to come back. It was, I don't know, that was weird. So, okay, 1 to 37. In the meantime, we'll let people make sure they got all their choices in here real quick. Adega, my friend, what is going on with you, man? We got different streams coming up or shows or anything like that we can plug real quick?
Nah, you guys know who I am. I hang out with you guys on Loki, listening to them every morning. I do the Thursday show with them when both of our schedules match. Yeah. I do a chapter from my current works on usually Sunday. It was always Sunday, but sometimes I drop another one during the week. Working on having several other books getting ready to be released soon.
Awesome.
Just plugging along, doing my thing, and I appreciate when someone says a kind word or enjoys my stuff for the first time, and that's always a kick. But nothing exciting, not really. It's the holidays. Around here, I'm become kind of a celebrity cook, so I've got a local butcher, and they're going to be bringing over. So if you guys want to dox me and figure out where I live, I'm going to have a big prime rib for Christmas. You guys are welcome. My wife will kill me for inviting you, but yeah, we're having fun.
Oh man, it would be fun if we could just Valhalla raid.
There you go.
Oh, Valhalla raid in Dega's house.
This little town would double in population.
So yeah, my wife caught me because I have sometimes I have a hard time sleeping. So if it's not Bob Ross and it's not rain, I actually was listening to you narrate some chapters, so I just was playing,
Oh,
and I guess my
very cool.
earbud came out of my ear enough, and she was like, "What are you listening to?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "No, it's some guy talking," and I'm like, "What?" And I look at the playlist, and I'm like, "Oh." Yeah, I hate Adega. Yeah, you're listening to Adega, his book. And she's like, "Oh, he reads it aloud too?" Because he knows you have a book. And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, he does like an audiobook voice." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So she was just like, "Oh, there you go. I plugged your narration."
Oh,
So
thank you.
yeah.
Appreciate
All
it.
right, last chance in chat, real quick, little trick. So, Loki, tomorrow, YouTube talk.
Kind of. It's going to be more of a creator talk. I've
Okay.
got
Very cool.
Jaguri from Pop Culture Minefield
Yeah.
coming in. Gary, Jerry.
Jaguri.
Just don't catch him calling you. Calling him
Jiri. That's what I
Jerry.
thought he says. She says Jiri. Yes.
Jaguri, Gajiri, whatever, however you want to
That's
say
awesome. Yes. A
And
busy week
we
ahead
will
for
have
you,
a
my friend.
special guest along with him. Someone that he was like, I wish I could talk to this person when I come on. And I was like, I didn't tell him, but I was like, I can arrange that. So we'll have a special guest on while he's on.
That's
and,
awesome.
talking about his new book that he is releasing. So
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So, all right. And with that, we'll go to Ironcaster for the big reveal. Ironcaster, my friend, the winning number is
32.
It's supposed to be a 6. It looks like a 6. 32 it is. 32. Did we get a third? I thought we
At
had a
first I was like,
32.
6. No, 32.
Lady missed.
Lady
Lady
Mist.
Mist.
Congratulations. The Lady Mist. Awesome. Make sure you message me either through Twitter. My email is at the bottom of all of the videos. If you need my email, Lady Mist, if you get it there, just hit me up. Let me know the address. And you are now will be in the drawing in the list for the main giveaway this month, which we'll be doing December 21st for the big Batman giveaway, which is 1 through 28 Shadow of the Bat, a graded copy of a Batman book, wax packs. I got a couple Funkos, a whole big Batman box of crap because I'm a big Batman nerd. That thing over there is a Dark Knight Returns mask and graphic novel. So yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. Mrs. Pops will be very happy that giant box of stuff will be leaving. And yeah, very, very cool. Ironcaster, my friend, what is going on with you? You have been really busy lately, my friend. I'm very proud, very happy, very excited. I'm taking in. I got him on. He was on 2-speed, Loki. So I got a lot to blow through here. 2-speed.
Do you have a picture of a seal? White seal? Never mind.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
I just have helpful little friends here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cameos, bit parts.
I wasn't gonna out you. I was just kidding.
I have been pretty busy, kind of on seemingly everyone else's channel. It feels like, and I've been starting to cut out Monday nights for myself to do a little what I'm calling the mech pit chat to talk about anything with like cool big robot stuff and armored spandex. All the Power Rangers or Sentai or Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Gundam. Just I want to talk about some fun stuff. I want to talk about going into this little niche over here.
Did I hear Macross? I didn't hear Macross. Where did
It's right
I
there on
have a
his desk.
small nuclear device that is waiting to be used. Either the word Robotech or Macross has to come out,
Out of tag.
Why
doesn't count.
Why don't I up this slightly and I show?
Ah, there we go.
Macross Saga.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel much better now. Thank you. I'm gonna cry.
Put the button down.
And
Did
with
you get
that,
the ultimate box set with the jet? With the
I did not. I bought these, and I wound up buying them individually.
Okay.
And
thank
Crunchyroll was
you.
nice enough to put a bunch on sale for me.
hail and thank you to my brother from another mother, Joker Voice, a member for 13 months. Can't believe it's been that long, my friend. Thank you so much. Hail Pops, Loki, and Ironcaster. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you, Joker. Awesome to see you, brother. Thank you so much. So,
Mr. J.
And Nas is saying that Ironcaster's hair is even more voluptuous than usual. Yes, indeed, it could be very much. So.
He's this generation's Culture Casino.
He may very well be. He may very well be Culture 2.0. Sure. Ironcaster hot oil condition. That's right. All right. Oh boy, now we're going beard too. Cool, very cool. So,
It's your straighteners out, folks.
so
if someone sends a super chat, I'll go for the beard oil.
Oh boy, I'm gonna whip it out. All right, all right.
I only do that when it's like on special occasions.
So yeah, busy couple weeks. Next week is a really, really personal favorite. Holy cow! I can't believe it's 40 years, guys. A Christmas Story. Wow, I can't believe it's been 40 years.
Yep.
Painful.
And we aren't even waiting for the 24-hour marathon.
No, and I don't. Again, it's going to be a similar story in some ways, right? Adega, Loki, I don't know if you guys could speak to that or not, because it's like this movie was not a success for years. Like it was not. I mean, I can remember being in high school and college and talking about this movie, and people were like, "I've never even seen this. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You guys have never seen this Christmas Story?" And they're like, "No," and they were always sort of like, "Ugh." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Ugh, like what?" Yeah, now it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere.
Right.
It's part of a group of films from these years ago that weren't popular then, but have gone on to become like such icons of like the modern day. Like Blade Runner, when it first came out, was just a complete flop that no one talked about, no one really liked, but it had its small little niche group that kept building.
Yeah, The Thing, Blade Runner.
Yep,
Christmas Story. Yeah,
leg lamp statues are everywhere.
They are.
I've got a sweater. I have got a sweater. So
well, next week will be the week. Maybe Loki will be on some camera time for some sweater wear. We will see. We will see. You don't want to miss that. We'll have another special guest next week. I'm very excited. So, what's this? Okay, so there was a great battle on Zach's channel about the best Christmas movie, and A Christmas Story is clear number one for me. I watch it every year. Yeah, all right, fair enough. No, it's definitely among the 3 most watched, I guess. I don't know. In my house, there's kind of a battle royale of what you're putting in now kind of thing. So I love Christmas Story, and now I can't stand it. Yeah, they really play it, and it's a lot now. Like I can see how some folks, that is kind of the casualty of some of this kind of stuff. But Thing, Blade Runner released same year, which is nuts. Not only same year, like within, I think it maybe even be the same day, Nas. Definitely the same time frame, and both bombed dramatically in that month. Horrible timing to come out when they came out. So
only because the Joker's in it.
Yes, Batman Returns. Yeah, fair enough. So by the way, I have a great video we're able to get with Jay Harang, who completely disagrees with me about what is a Christmas movie, but we tried to discuss what some of the criteria could or should be, and then allow you guys to join in that conversation. So make sure you check out the channel if you so choose to want to take that in. So next couple weeks we'll be doing a Christmas Story next week with a special guest, and then the ultimate. Well, he's not really a YouTuber, or is he a YouTuber? The debate will continue, but what will not will be the debate of whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and that will be our last Talk Hard of the year on December the 19th in 2 weeks.
You didn't do a Christmas Carol.
No, we didn't do a Christmas Carol. I think what we have to do is we may have to do a year where we do like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them or something. Because I got to be honest, some of the adaptations are so good. I almost feel like, how can we also pay homage to them as well? So I don't know. We'll have to discuss that.
The year we do we do like 3 or 4 of the Christmas Carol takes, all is like one after another.
Maybe, I don't know. But I'm gonna get burned out on Christmas Carol if I do that. So yeah.
And then, but if I'd say my money is on doing a Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I love that one. She just watched that this weekend. So yeah, they played Christmas Story, that 24 marathon thing. In fact, yeah. So Die Hard Christmas.
Someone told me, they were like, "Did you do realize?" And I knew about Paul Rubens. I totally get that, but the waitress that's in Pee-wee's Big Adventure is the mother of the Penguin in Batman Returns.
Yes.
So you've got Paul Rubens as the Penguin's father, and you've got the waitress. I can't remember the actress's name. You got the waitress from Pee-wee's Big Adventure as the mother of the Penguin. So it's not just Paul Rubens, it's him and his girlfriend from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. It was just nuts. I that blew my mind when I saw that. I was like, holy crap, I never realized that. I just thought it was Paul Rubens playing the Penguin's father.
Yeah, it's fun when you kind of unearth those kinds of things and you figure those kinds of things. I'm actually doing I don't want to spoil it. I'm watching an animated series, and let's just say the voice actor is from The Thing. And I thought to myself, man, once it clicks, I'm like, God, it's so good. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. So, all right, yes, I'm barely acknowledging that you keep doing that, Nas, because I can't do that movie. You can watch my video, Nas. You can troll me on that video, okay? That's all. So, yeah, he threw it up earlier, and we were just talking, and we just kind of kept going. I just kept clicking through them. That's the best I could do. So, but anyway, gentlemen, thank you. Gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out. Adega, I can't thank you enough for joining us. It's been such a pleasure. I'm a big fan, love what you do, and it's great to be able to bring some of your thoughts to this conversation. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I mean, seriously, the pleasure's mine. I feel very honored, so thank you very much.
And then Loki and IRONCASTER, another great show, another great week. You guys are just amazing. It's awesome to do this. Awesome to hang out. And yes, I know Nas is going on with now Star Wars Holiday Special conversation. Yes, and yeah. I'm not watching that. Nas, I'm not. I did my one watch. I'm done. Yeah. So the Holiday Special does get a yearly. Yeah, we do give that a yearly watch as well. Probably closer to Thanksgiving than Christmas for us. I think it's more like early November is usually when Holiday Special gets thrown into the rotation. But I think that's what you were saying earlier, a week or two ago, IRONCASTER, because the Thanksgiving movie list is a much thinner list, so it's easy. It just slides into that group a little bit easier, in my opinion.
And I mean, that one just kind of like it's like infamously bad. So that one's just fun to throw on because, especially when you get one of those copies on YouTube that have like the old commercials.
Be careful throwing out the word old. So we're going to put you back in timeout, Mr. 1989. So, yeah, there we go. We'll go out on that. Great animation, great music, great voice acting. It is a classic. Yes, it is. Nightmare Before Christmas. If you haven't watched it recently, give it a go. Really take it in, soak it in, enjoy it so much. Thank you again for being here. We appreciate you, gentlemen. I appreciate all of you so much. Get out there, be blessed, talk hard. Until next time, just make tomorrow a little bit better than today. That's all. And take care, everybody.